and welcome back to my channel, and thank you to everyone who commented on my last video. It currently just went up this morning and I've been so surprised to see all the comments that were like, we miss you, we miss you. I love making long form content and I love booktube, so coolest thing ever. So grateful that you're here. Let's get into today's video. I need to catch everyone up on how my reading year has been so far. Not great, honestly. This is probably my worst reading year in a minute. There's really only been a few books so far that I've been insanely feral for, and I have been DNFing left and right. Because of that, I've been doing a ton of rereads. I have reread so many Shadowhunter books, I think 9, and we're gonna keep these good vibes going. I've also read almost all of the Hunger Games books, which was such a blast. As for the 2 new books that have consumed me, body and soul, first of all, no one will be surprised. Sunrise on the Reaping, best Hunger Games book ever, dare I say it. I actually can't believe I didn't read this twice, back to back, because as soon as I finished it, I just wanted to restart it. Infinity Stars perfect. And then we have The Stunning, the Beautiful, the Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This book is everything to me. It's like if The Cruel Prince met The Bachelor, met Victorian England. It's truly so original, and it has girlhood and it has just amazing plot twists. The vibes are perfect. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I cannot believe how pretty it is. I don't even have Fairy Loot. I just bought this off of eBay. So those are the highlights from this year, but I'm pretty sure the amount of books I've DNF'd are far into the double digits. But I am really excited for 2 of the books I'm going to read in this video because they're both super unique and I am eating them up. I just bought this on Sunday. I already unwrapped it, but I rewrapped it for the video. If you're ever in Utah, this is called Planted in Pages, and it's a plant and bookstore. It felt like the Hufflepuff common room. It felt like heaven. Look at the wax seal. You're kidding me. This is A River Enchanted and a Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. Long story short, I started this book in March. I was so excited about it. We have Celtic folklore and mythology. It's very fairy tale-esque, very atmospheric, and of course her writing is beautiful, but I felt like it was a little slow paced. So even though I finished it, I only gave it 3 stars, and then it stuck in my brain and I could not stop thinking about it. I heard that book 2 is even better. I'm 11% in. I have the audiobook on Hoopla. It's such a good audiobook. And just yes. So much yes. This is beautiful and I'm obsessed with it. Both books contain a mystery element set on this lush, stunning Isle of Cadence. Something I do love about this is we get 4 different POVs, which tells the story very effectively, and the characters are extremely lovable. And then the second book I am feeling very, very hopeful about is called The Shadows That Listen. I'm 16% in. This is an urban fantasy, which I love urban fantasy so much. It's also dystopian. So 2 years before, demons came out of the earth and angels came from the sky, and the humans were caught in the middle, and they thought that the angels were there to save them, but no, they were not. Mass destruction occurred. The angels struck a deal with the humans and said, you can have the city during the day, but it's a mandatory lockdown at night, and if any of you are left out in the city, you are dead. It's giving Shadowhunters, but in such a unique way. It's like if Shadowhunters met Crescent City. I'm gonna take my dogs on a long hike today, and I'm gonna listen to this audiobook and also hopefully binge read this book when I have time. So I will keep you in the loop. The next day, and I am back with a reading update. I have some good news and I have some bad news. Let's start with the bad. I got a little bit farther into The Shadows That Listen. I read about 60 more pages, and they were a very telling 60 pages, and I realized that this book is giving a very tropey, romantic-y kind of vibe, which is the type of book I'm wanting to steer away from. I do like romantic-y, but it has to be original, and I thought this book was original at first because of the Nephilim and the urban fantasy vibe. Our main character has a little bit of not like the other girls syndrome. The problem is the main character keeps saying how different she is and like saying things about herself. And if the character is going to be different, I want the author to show me, not to tell me. It's like when a guy says, I'm a really nice guy. I'm like, Why are you saying that? It'd be so much more impactful if a guy just did something nice. My least favorite thing, and this is gonna sound like a spoiler, but it is in the book description on Goodreads, but it's that our main character starts the book in a loving relationship. And you can tell that he is not going to be the main love interest, but she meets the obvious love interest early on in the book while still being in a relationship, and her and him already have like bantery nicknames for each other. His for her is Slayer. So I'm out of here. I'm gonna DNF this. I think this could fall under what I would call a TV show book. The other two books I have in that category are Metal Slinger and Quicksilver, but it's not quite as good as those. So if you're into like a very silly, fun time that feels like a camp 2015 TV show, you might like this. The good news is I'm 34% into A Fire Endless. It's stunning, it's beautiful, and the plot is so much more fast-paced than the first book. So just everything about this is perfect and I'm loving it. In case you want an idea of the writing and the vibes, I'm gonna read a little quote from it. It was high summer on the Isle. The nights were warm and star-soaked. The afternoons storm-swept and the gardens full of soft, dark loam, their harvest imminent. Berries grew sweet on wild vines, winkles gathered in rock eddies when the tide was low, and fawns could often be seen on the hills trailing their mothers through bracken and knee-high wildflowers. Whew, that took me 3 tries. Every chapter seems to have something unexpected, and it's just shocked me because I was thinking it would be very slow and peaceful, similar to book 1. I do like to be reading 2 books at once, so right after I DNF'd this one, I decided I would start Passion Project by London Sperry, which is a romance book that came out today. I ended up reading 91 pages in one sitting. The writing is incredible, and this is a debut novel, so I'm just blown away. It is actually very similar to Promise Me Sunshine, which I read in my last video. This is about a girl named Bennett who lives in New York City. She's grieving and just very lost in life, and she's supposed to go on a date with a guy named Henry, but she has a panic attack, so she stands him up, and then she runs into him a few hours later, and he's like, what if we became friends? She's really not here for it. Her social anxiety is really bad at this time, but she ends up going forward and deciding to be friends with him. Prickly girls, get behind me because I will be your first line of defense. I love the girls who are anxious, and maybe it makes them a little mean because those are my besties. So I'm just loving Bennett. And for my fanfic girlies, the vibe of the relationship is so insanely jegulous. Sunshine and I will kill you. I got the book on Libby last night at 10 p.m. and I was so surprised my library had it and that it was available, but for some reason it's not sending to my Kindle, so I think I'm gonna head to Barnes and grab a copy and then continue to read it today. Are going to finish some books today. I have been reading this book for 4 or 5 days now because it just demands to be read slowly, and anytime I start to binge it, I just don't enjoy it as much. It hits really hard when I sit and I just like bask in the story for a few chapters and then take a break. I am 73% in. We'll see if I'm able to finish it today. I don't want it to be over because I can't think of a single book in the entire world that is similar to this. And if the plot is similar, the writing is not. 2 fun updates is, first of all, I realized that one of the couple dynamics is the captain of the guard and the healer together. So if you love that dynamic between Kale and Irene, you will love these 2. Second of all, I spent the first half of the book kind of confused about the spirits in this world. This world is so closely associated with nature and the beauty of the earth, and A River Enchanted, the first book, mentions and references these earth spirits, and basically every part of the earth has a spirit associated with it. I kept thinking, I wish we could dive into that more. Well, wish granted. This book, we are so involved in the politics of the spirits. They're popping up everywhere. I'm constantly like, oh my gosh, that has a spirit too. And they're interacting with the characters, and they have this big political thing going on with their king, and then we're getting like the ways that that trickles down into the humans that live on the earth. So that's just so cool. I think my favorite character is Jack, who is so interesting because he's not a warrior boy, but he's not a stereotypical soft boy. He's a musician, and he's very artistic and emotional. He feels his emotions a lot, and they almost rule him, and that is such fun representation to get in a fantasy book. This is one of those stories that I'm devouring and I'm loving, and yet it's not intuitive to me to the point where I can't predict a thing. I'm just along for the ride. Every single page is a surprise. I either want to do a reading sprint today or listen to the audiobook while I walk or hike or just go about my day. So we'll see. I do hope to finish it, but no pressure. And I absolutely hope to finish Passion Project. Pressure's on for this one because I only have 100 pages left. First and most important update, Henry is a James Potter variant to the point where he has messy hair, glasses, and red shoes on the cover. Everything he does is so James Potter. I'm gonna say some tea. This is everything I hoped Promise Me Sunshine would be. It speaks to me way more. The give and take feels way more equal in this one. Both of the books are about a guy who is helping a girl find her spark again and get her magic back, but Miles never quite made sense, whereas Henry has a beautiful story that we dive into more. And I think that Bennett is giving as much love to him as he's giving to her. Speaking of Bennett, let's talk about her. I will not be surprised if people do not like Bennett because she's in the middle of a mess and she's grieving and she's so depressed, but I think she is the most fleshed out, realistic character. Seeing how far she's fallen with her grief just makes sense. Watching her try to come out of that grief also makes sense, and it's fun, and it's set in New York City, and we go on all of these adventures. I just can't believe this is a debut novel. We're locking in. I'm off to make lunch. I'm gonna have the audiobook in on this book, and then once I'm done eating, I'm going to finish Passion Project. Okay, I'm on page 300. I have 50 pages left. I'm not loving the direction we have gone. It is very much stressing me out. I know a book has to have conflict, and I do see how what's happening is realistic. It's making me frustrated with the character. Unfortunately, the moment that just happened is giving, you could live 1,000 lifetimes and never deserve that boy. I actually feel sick. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Okay. I just took some time to write my Goodreads review and just soak in this story and get to the bottom of how I feel about everything. This was so fun, but it also balanced deeper themes really well. I definitely had 5-star feelings until about 2/3 of the way through. We did have a third act conflict that had me crashing out, as you can tell. I just thought there was something that happened that felt so cruel and so mean that it affected the way I feel about the relationship as a whole. Going from such a real and hard third act conflict into the happy ending and an epilogue of a romance book is whiplashy. I think I was just unsettled with how quickly it all went down, even though it wasn't unrealistic to the story. So that's really setting me back. I think that made me drop the book down a whole star. I was gonna give it 4, now I'm giving it 3, but I have to say, I love the New York setting. I love that Henry was a James Potter variant. Her grief and her mental illness rep was so powerful, but the ending, 3 stars isn't a bad rating. I don't think I'll ever reread it, but I don't regret reading it. I I finished this book last night on a walk while the sun was setting. It was mystical. In my review, I said that reading this book felt like walking through the wardrobe into Narnia. That's not to say that the plot or the feeling of this is similar to Narnia, because honestly, there's nothing that really is. But it is similar in the way that you feel like you are inside of the world. It just wraps you up and it is so magical. This is not your epic high fantasy story. This is folklore and fairy tales and whimsy. Honestly, in 2025, I can feel that my taste in books is changing because I kept trying to read books that I liked before and they were not hitting, and it was just DNF after DNF. This is a story I don't know that I would have liked a few years ago, but now I was ready for it and I didn't need it to be action-packed. I just appreciated it for the art and the poetry that it is. I'm thinking my taste changing is a theme I will explore in a lot of my videos coming up. I'm not exactly sure what that will look like. I know the next video I'm gonna read some high fantasy books that intimidate the hell out of me, so stay tuned for that. But yes, this is 5 stars. For our last read of the video, we're gonna read something I've been so excited about, which is the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. It is a Regency England diary of a funny, quirky girl who is making her way out into London society. If you've seen these at the bookstore, they really do look like journals and they're in a rainbow array of colors, so every time I see them my eyes just lock in. I also am excited because they have the dates on her journal entries, and this one at least is all March and April, so it's the perfect time to read it. I'm thinking maybe I could read this in one sitting. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Wait, I'm loving this. March 11th, rain. Dismal enough to be cozy, and that's the whole entry. She's talking about her walks she takes. My true love is the evening walk, that last hour of daylight that has its way with sunlight, shadow, and soul. This is so unique because it is her journal, so sometimes she'll do info dumps, sometimes she'll write quotes on the books she's reading, and then sometimes she'll sneak in tidbits from her past that as the reader you're like, what has happened here? Also, she's just so funny because she complains sometimes. It's just very girl writing in her journal core. 107 pages later, I am done. That was so fun. It was so silly and easily digestible. I just loved it. There's nothing else like this. I have that feeling that I got when I was younger, when I first read Anne of Green Gables or when I first read about Amy March. Oh, this historical fiction girl is so me. And that's just a very magical feeling. Not that this was published a long time ago or anything. So this came out in 2019. Moving forward, I might read a few entries every morning. I think that could be a really fun way to start the day. But I love knowing that I can binge these whenever, because I'm pretty sure book 2 at least is also very small. Okay, that is going to complete this week's reading vlog. Before we finish, let's rank these 3 books in order of least favorite to favorite. Honestly, these were all worth the read, but at the bottom we have Passion Project. I gave this 3 stars. Then honestly, these are both 5 stars. I love them for different reasons, which is crazy because I was reading this for 6 days and I read this in an hour. I think they're tied, honestly, tied for first. Oh my gosh. Am I out of my reading slump? No, I can't get my hopes up, but I think we're headed in a very good direction. That is going to be it for today. As always, please let me know if you have read these and what you think about them. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.